Finance, Senator Gatchalian, then we can proceed. This subcommittee J hearing on the Committee on Finance budget deliberations is hereby called to order. The chair, with the presence of our chairperson of the Committee on Finance, Senator Win Gatchalian, the chair declares a presence of a quorum. We would like to request the committee secretary to acknowledge the presence of our resource persons.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning. Good morning, the Honorable Senator Gatchalian. We have a long list of attendees from the Judiciary. This will just be entered into the records of the Senate. In the interest of time, I will just call the ones at the table. From the Supreme Court of the Philippines, Honorable Rodel V. Zalameda, Associate Justice. Honorable Samuel H. Garland, Associate Justice. Honorable Joseph Y. Lopez, Associate Justice. Honorable Raul B. Villanueva, Associate Justice. Honorable Maria Teresa Dolores C. Gomez Istuesta, Court Administrator. From the Court of Appeals, we have Honorable Fernanda Lampas Peralta, Presiding Justice. Honorable Florencio M. Mamawag Jr., Associate Justice. From the Sandigan Bayan, we have Honorable Geraldine Faith A. Ikong, Presiding Justice. Honorable Bayani H. Jacinto, Associate Justice. Honorable Hiner M. Hito, Associate Justice. Honorable Carl Miranda, Associate Justice. From the Court of Tax Appeals, we have Honorable Catherine T. Manahan, Acting Presiding Justice. Honorable Corazon J. Ferrer Flores, Associate Justice. From the Executive Branch of Government handling the Judiciary budget, we have Ms. Mary Rose Aguilar, Acting Director 3. COA Representatives, Cheryl Ann Martinez, State Auditor 4 for the Supreme Court. That's all for now, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Committee Secretary Attorney Lina. To our distinguished guests, resource persons, magandang umaga po sa kanilang lahat. We are convening this Subcommittee on Finance J hearing to hear the judiciary budget. I have been tasked to defend the judiciary budget for the 2026 budget debates, and I'm thankful for your presence. It is interesting and ironic that as the judiciary presents its budget, we are actually facing the largest corruption scandal that the country has ever faced. And ultimately, the rule of law, respect for the rule of law, and justice is on trial as well. Our country is shaking from the massive corruption that has been exposed and continues to be exposed. And ultimately, the question is, and among the minds of our people, and they have said this repeatedly, wala namang makukulong dyan. Puro investigasyon lang. Tulad nung mga nakaraang skandalo at corruption cases, wala namang nakukulong. O kaya nakulong na pinakakawalan din naman. I cannot help but wonder, had those previous corruption cases been resolved in favor of the rule of law and justice, in favor of good governance, would we be facing this scandal, unprecedented trillion peso scandal we are facing today? Ultimately, will we be able to punish the corrupt? Is the justice system capable of rendering justice and accountability? I pray and I hope that this will be the last of all corruption scandals in this country. But it can only be achieved when the justice system itself and the judiciary will step up and render public accountability and justice. Are we punishing enough? Are we punishing swiftly? In the Sandigan Bayan budget presentation and defense in the House, the Sandigan Bayan has said that their conviction rate is 47%. 1 out of 2 cases end up being dismissed or an acquittal. The other question is, of the 47% conviction, how long did it take to convict? What is the average shelf life of those 47 convictions? 47% convictions. 15 years? 10 years? 20 years? In other words, in the end, all that was being heard in the other side of the hall, corruption scandals. Perhaps you were monitoring it at the district engineer of Bulacan has just admitted to providing 25%, 20 to 25% of hundreds of millions, if not billions of pesos worth of flood control projects to top level officials of the land. How soon will the cases be filed? How soon will convictions happen? Will it take years? Again, for whoever is to be accused and tried in this particular, of course, if there are appeals, it will reach the Supreme Court. And in the meantime, what happens? And so, forgive me because I just came from there. Sabi nga ni Senator Gatchalian, mas exciting doon kaysa sa dito. Pero sa totoo lang, andito ang solusyon. Ang strategic solution sa mga excitement doon is narito sa Judiciary. And so with that, we would like to, unless Senator Gatchalian has an opening statement, you have the floor, the chairperson of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just quick remarks. This hearing might not be as explosive as the other hearing, but I definitely agree with you that after the investigation there, those cases will probably be transferred to a lot of the entities that we are going to hear today. And the Committee on Finance wants to make sure that the courts, the different levels of our judiciary is well equipped with the budget and tools that will enable them to dispense those cases with utmost detail, as well as we can dispense it as quick as possible so we can render justice. So it is our job right now to make sure that they are adequately funded, to make sure that the budget are spent on items that will make them efficient, improve the disposition of cases. And that's the only way for our people to bring back the trust and confidence to the government. Ngayon kasi pag sinabing gobyerno, hindi naman nila tinitignan whether judiciary, executive, or legislative, lahat tayo damay-damay dito because of what's happening. So it's important right now that the judiciary and all of its entities are well equipped with the budgets that they will need in order to dispense cases that will truly render justice to the Filipino people. So maraming salamat.
Thank you, Senator Gatchalian. Just for the information of Senator Gatchalian, actually, this is serendipity perhaps for me because this is full circle. My first term in the Senate, I was the Committee on Justice chairperson, and I defended the judiciary budget. And therefore, I'm back to where I started. And during our term as Committee on Justice chairperson, we did a lot. I'm sure then private lawyer Justice Raul would remember that because we voted for him to become RTC judge, here in Metro Manila. And a number of others here would remember that we were involved with the JBC. And during our watch, we were able to increase the compensation of judges and justices. We were able to increase the compensation of the prosecutors. We were able to, and I said this during our budget briefing, we were able to convene the Judiciary, Executive, Legislative, Advisory, and Consultative Council, which met twice. But in the two meetings, we were able to increase at that point, when the budget of the judiciary was just about 20 billion, perhaps. We were able to increase it in one budget year by 3 billion because of the mechanism called the JELAC. We passed the juvenile justice measure, landmark piece of legislation. We passed the alternative dispute resolution law, among others. So now that I'm back, I'm excited and geared towards providing the judiciary the legislative interventions it needs to be able to deliver justice swiftly and impartially. And so, ma'am, we will now give the floor to our court administrator, Justice Estoesta, for the presentation. Please, you have the floor, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Honorable Senator Win Gatchalian, Chair of the Committee on Finance, and good morning, Honorable Senator Francis Kiko Pangilinan, Mr. Chair, for presiding this budget hearing. I'm privileged to present to you the budget for the judiciary because we are working under a roadmap now known as the 5-year strategic plan for judicial innovation. It's a definite work plan, Your Honors, providing a portfolio of projects and achievable target outcomes dedicated to promoting the best interests of the litigants, the bench, the bar, court officials, and personnel, and all stakeholders in the justice system. If I may start, Your Honors, our 2025 budget under the General Appropriations Act was 64.03 billion pesos. The breakdown of which is as follows. For the Supreme Court of the Philippines and lower courts, consisting of 2,849 judges and 33,709 court personnel, we have a budget of 55.23 billion or 86.30% thereof. For the Presidential Electoral Tribunal, we have a budget of 171.71 million. For the Court of Appeals, where there are 69 justices, 5.215 billion or 8.2% of the given budget. Sandigan Bayan with 21 justices, 2.377 billion or 3.71 of the budget. And for the Court of Tax Appeals, with 9 associate justices and the presiding justice, 1.019 billion or 1.6%. For the 2026 judiciary budget, Your Honor, to be able to fund the regular operations of the court and to further fuel our reform initiatives, we ask for 105.76 billion pesos. the breakdown of which we can see from slide 6, 92.79 should have been given to the Supreme Court of the Philippines and lower courts, 194.57 to the PET, 8.47 billion to the Court of Appeals, 2.885 billion to the Sandigan Bayan, and 1.416 billion to the Court of Tax Appeals. From the total proposed budget of 105.76 billion, Your Honors, only 67.945 billion was included in the National Expenditures Program, cutting off 37.815 billion, and the breakdown of which appears in slide 8.
Would you have
yes, Your Honor.
just very quickly, would you have a percentage of the entire national budget?
It's less than almost a little over 1% still, Your Honor.
So obviously, for a co-equal branch,
Yes, sir.
less than 1% is
Still,
does not make you a co-equal in that regard.
that is correct, Your Honor.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. For what was provided by the executive oversight of the DBM in the National Expenditure Program, Your Honor, we can see that only 58.554 billion was given to the Supreme Court and the lower courts, 177.87 million to the Presidential Electoral Tribunal, 5.788 billion to the Court of Appeals, 2.378 billion to the Sandigan Bayan, and 1.047 billion to the Court of Tax Appeals. We can see, Your Honor, the difference between what we were working on under the 2025 General Appropriations Act and what was given under the 2026 National Expenditures Program. It's a little over 3.99 billion, Your Honor, or just an increase of 6%. As we can see from slide 10, a total of 64.013 billion was only increased to 67.945 billion. As we can see from the next slide, slide 11, from our 2025 GAA, the Supreme Court and lower courts only enjoyed 55.23 billion, which was increased in the NEP to 58.554 billion, or just an increase of 6%. For PET, 171.71 million, or an increase of 177.87 million, or a mere increase of 6.16 million pesos. For the Court of Appeals, from 5.215 billion, only an increase of 5.788 billion, or just a little over 573 million pesos. For the Sandigan Bayan, and this is where it gets really a little increase, Your Honors, from 2.377 billion, it was only increased in the NEP to 2.378 billion, or an increase only of 308,000 pesos. For the Court of Tax Appeals, 1.019 billion to an increase only of 1.07 billion, or 28 million. So a total of 64.013 billion to 67.945 billion in the NEP, or a 6% increase in the budget. Ideally, this would the judiciary would have asked for, Your Honors, had it been granted its entire proposal. So for the 2026 proposed budget, we were asking, Your Honors, for 92.79 billion for the Supreme Court and lower courts, but what was given in the NEP is only 58.554 billion. For the PET, we were asking for 194.57 million, and what was given is only 177.87 million. For the Court of Appeals, 8.47 billion, and what was given by NEP is 5.788 billion. For the Sandigan Bayan, 2.885 billion, and what was granted was only 2.378 billion. And for the Court of Tax Appeals, 1.416 billion, and what was granted was only 1.047 billion. So a variance of 37.81 billion pesos, or 36% thereof. So for this reason, Your Honors, we are asking that the following amounts representing the variance in the amounts cut off, we are asking for the reconsideration or for the inclusion. Or out of the 37.81 billion, we are only asking for 28.31 billion inclusion, which we will see in slide 15. So for reconsideration, Your Honors, for inclusion, we are asking for the Supreme Court and lower courts, 24.74 billion. For the Presidential Electoral Tribunal, 2 billion. For the Court of Appeals, 2.69 billion. For the Sandigan Bayan, 509.87 million. And for the Court of Tax Appeals, 369.53 million, or a total of 28.31 billion, representing 75% of the cut-off amount of 37.81 billion. And these are, to go into details, Your Honor, for the Supreme Court of the Philippines and the lower courts, or a total of 24.74%. Personal services, Your Honors, this would have represented the new positions created under the Office of the Regional Court Manager, representing 375 positions, or a total of 217.14 million. Likewise, for our free legal aid services, by now the newly created office, United Legal Aid Service Office, creating 45 positions, or amount reflected in 39.10 million. Likewise, for the Office of the Judiciary Marshals, which is a creation of Republic Act 11691, 710.90 million pesos. And as an integral part of the Family Courts of 1997 under RA 8316-9, Social Services and Counseling Division, or the amount of 256.36 million. For a reorganized Office of the Bar Confidant, creating 62 positions, 65.55 million. For the Office of the Chief Justice and the Offices of the Associate Justices, creating 212 additional positions, the amount of 407.10 million. For the lower courts, 10,147 newly created positions, and we need a budget, Your Honors, of 5.48 billion. Representing lump sum for reclassification of positions for the lower courts, 4.27 billion. And other compensation for specific groups representing the hazard pay for judges and sheriffs under RA 9227, we need an amount of 504.59 million, or a subtotal of 11.95 billion. For maintenance and other operating expenses, for our PhilJA Training Center Office, 95.83 million. For our 15 ORCMs in 13 judicial regions, 150.75 million. For our professional services, which provides our HMO, 781.37 million. And to pay for our rent and lease expenses for our newly created courts, 260.74 million. And for our MOOE, to implement the Filipino Sign Language Act under RA 11106, 50 million, or subtotal of 1.34 billion. For capital outlay, Your Honors, transportation equipment outlay, 3.5 million. ICT equipment, especially for video conferencing, 2.45 billion. Intangible assets outlay, 1 million, or a subtotal of 2.454 billion pesos. For locally funded projects, Your Honor, which would represent the construction of our halls of justice, we needed additional funding for the Cagayan de Oro HOJ, 2,04,917,884 for our civil works. For the Cebu City HOJ, 4,056,349,030. For the Lapu-Lapu Hall of Justice, 550,652,372. Likewise, for the lower courts, halls of justice for Imelda Zamboanga Sibugay, 200 million, Batangas City, 30 million, and Butuan City, 260 million, or a total of 7,101,919,826. And for our Makati City land acquisition within the Circuit Makati for our Makati City judges, 1,900,000,000 pesos, or a subtotal of 9.002 billion, representing the total amount for reconsideration for SCPLC, 24.74 billion. For the Presidential Electoral Tribunal, capital outlay, we were asking for other machinery and equipment, 1 million, furniture and fixtures, 1 million, or total amount of 2 million. For the Court of Appeals, Your Honors, personal services, to restore the deleted amounts reflecting the third tranche for the compensation payment under EO 64, salaries and wages, 422.43 million, other personal benefits, 667.35 million, and other personal service items, 407.19 million. Subtotal of 1.50 billion pesos. For MOOE, expenses for traveling, communications, and the others, 403.04 million. Extraordinary and miscellaneous expenses, professional services and general services, 164.97 million, and other MOOE, 64.33 million, or a subtotal of 632.34 million pesos. For moving on, for Court of Appeals, capital outlay, a total of, for rehabilitation and improvement of the buildings in Manila and Baguio, That's the amount of 119.44 million. For the Cebu Court of Appeals Building, 221.06 million. And the Cagayan de Oro Court of Appeals Building, 208.07 million. Machinery and equipment outlay, these are for office equipment, military, police, and security equipment, 5.1 million, or subtotal of 553.67 million. For the retirement and life insurance premiums, Your Honors, it's 2.23 million, or a total amount of 2.69 billion for the Court of Appeals. For the Sandigan Bayan, Your Honor, totaling 509.87 million, broken down as other personal benefits, 493.63 million, hazard pay, 10.31 million, PhilHealth contributions, 1.43 million, employees' compensation or insurance premium, 100,000 pesos, and Provident Fund per SC resolution, 4.4 million pesos. For the Court of Tax Appeals, a total of 369.53 million, broken down as follows: personal benefits, 295.31 million, other compensation, 17.747 million, lump sum appropriations for the newly created positions, 32.7 million, or subtotal of 345.8 million. For MOOE, other personal services, 12.06 million, or a total of 23.73 million. The total amount for motion for reconsideration for the Court of Appeals being 369.53 million pesos. Our budget utilization, Your Honor, if I may proceed, for the SCPLC, our obligated amounts, Your Honor, we have a utilization rate of 99.8%. For PET, 96.2%. For the Court of Appeals, 98.2%. For the Sandigan Bayan, 98.6%. For the Court of Tax Appeals, it's 100% as of December 31, 2024. Halfway through this year, Your Honor, we're still on target, considering that for SCPLC, it's utilization rate of 51%, PET 48.2%, for the Court of Appeals, 52.3%, Sandigan Bayan 48.8%, and the Court of Tax Appeals 52.9%. The state of the judiciary, Your Honors. Beginning with our positions. For the Supreme Court, we have authorized permanent positions, 3,252, non-permanent positions, casuals and contractual, 796, and co-terms to the incumbent, 944. Field positions of which are, for the authorized, 1,673. Field positions are all field for non-permanent positions, and co-terms, we have 754 field positions. For the lower court judges, as of June 30, 2025, Your Honors, we have a total of 2,720 authorized positions. Field positions are 2,190. Unfilled positions are 530. And that represents a vacancy rate of 19.48%. For our lower court personnel, Your Honors.
Before you proceed,
Yes,
we
Your-
just would like to place on record the presence of Senator Tulfo, Rafi Tulfo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. For our lower court personnel, as of June 30, 2025, the total number of unauthorized positions is 33,709, filled of which are 25,797. Unfilled positions are 7,912. 690 positions or are classified as family courts are still unfunded and awaiting NOS NOSCA from the DBM, representing a vacancy rate of 23.47%. For the Court of Appeals, Sandigan Bayan, Court of Tax Appeals, and the PET, authorized positions are for the Court of Appeals. If we can proceed to slide 33, 1,966. Filled positions are 1,575. Unfilled positions are 391, representing a vacancy rate of 19.9%. For the Sandigan Bayan, it's 584 authorized positions, filled of which are 490, unfilled is 94, or representing a vacancy rate of 16%. For the Court of Tax Appeals, 379 authorized positions, filled of which are 314, or unfilled positions are 65, representing a vacancy rate of 17.15%. For our case dispositions, Your Honors, or major final outputs for the Supreme Court, we have an accomplishment rate of 79% in 2023, 95% in 2024, and halfway through this year, June 2025, 79%. Pending cases with the Supreme Court as of December 2024 is 12,304, and as of June 2025, it's 12,498. For our second level courts, Your Honors, regional trial courts, we have an accomplishment rate in 2024 of 117%. In June 2025, this was increased to 121%. Pending cases as of June 2025 of 356,690 cases. For family courts, both statutory and designated, we have an accomplishment rate in 2023 of 229%, 140% in 2024, and 122% in June 2025. Pending cases for our family courts as of June 2025 is 71,835. For our Sharia district courts, Your Honors, accomplishment rate in 2024 is 157%. And increased to 216% as of June 2025. Pending cases as of June 2025 is 288. For our first level courts, Your Honors, our champions in the rules on expedited procedure for the Metropolitan Trial Courts, an accomplishment rate of 166% in 2024 and 149% halfway through this year as of June 2025. Pending cases as of June 2025 is 39,789, which followed from 44,960 as of December 2024. For municipal trial courts in cities, accomplishment rate of 153% in 2024, and as of June 2025, it's 167%, with pending cases of 68,434 as of June 2025. For municipal trial courts, an accomplishment rate of 137% as of 2024, and as of June 2025, this was increased to 157%. Pending cases as of June 2025 is 26,502.
Ma'am, just to clarify.
Yes, Your Honor.
When you say pending cases, these are the total number of cases that are not resolved in
Yes, pending.
the municipal trial courts nationwide.
Yes, Your Honor, they're still pending.
And when you say 2025 target disposal or 2024 30,000,
Yes, Your Honor.
and you disposed 41,000,
Yes, Your Honor.
you're saying that
If
that another 26,000 cases were filed. Is that right? Sorry.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
that-
Okay. So okay. So and the same applies for all the others, no?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Same question, Mr. Chairman. Yung target disposal, I can see here, how do you determine the target disposal? That's target disposal for the year, I would
Yes, Your
assume.
Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
But how do
It-
you determine the target disposal? Because diba, there's in the universe of pending, yun ang, in my layman's understanding, that should be the target.
Yes, Your Honor.
But obviously, annually, there's a specific target. How do you determine that specific target?
That's usually discussed with the Department of Budget and Management, Your Honor, and the Supreme Court has its own committee on judicial reconciliation data to be able to arrive at an averaging of our target disposal. So it's really discussed, Your Honors, and we fix it to be able to arrive at the computation of our major final outputs.
Well, in connection with the point raised by Senator Gatchalian, because if you're incurring 175%, maybe you should increase the targets.
Yes, Your Honor.
So that we are able to dispose more. Ideally on 100%, diba?
Yes, Your Honor.
So that so in this case, for example, if it's 175% accomplishment, it's almost double
Yes,
what you set out. No?
yes, Your Honor.
So maybe you should double your target disposal, or
Yes, Your Honor.
so that we can dispose of more also.
Yes, Your Honor.
But that's up to you, no? But that's just our observation here that yes, it's mataas yung accomplishment rate dahil baka mababa yung targets.
Yes, Your Honor.
So dapat siguro magkaroon ng adjustment. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Your
proceed.
Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, on the same note, that the target is based on what is that? The oldest case goes
Usually, it's an averaging of
Disposed.
years, previous years, Your Honor.
Is there a
The-
importance of how you determine which cases gets disposed first? Yung pinakaluma ba muna or pinaka-controversial? Obviously, it's not the entire case. You choose a specific number of cases and then that's the target,
Almost.
correct? Ganun ba yun? Or it's the courts that determine which cases as long as you hit, let's say 100, as long as you hit the target.
We are talking of all cases disposed of, Your Honors. It's not selective because it's really an averaging of all cases pending and disposed of, Your Honor.
Yeah, like for example, in dito sa may let's say sa RTC, the pending cases is 376,000. The target for 2025 is 133,000.
Yes, Your
So
Honor.
obviously, hindi lahat ma-dispose, no?
Yes po.
How do you select the 133? Is it based
From
on the oldest case, based on importance, or it's the discretion of the judge already?
The oldest should be disposed of.
Your Honor, the competition is really dependent on the terminated cases because that is where it comes in the actual disposal. So the terminated case will reflect the time to disposition, how the proceedings went, and the nature of the case, Your Honors. And then we compare it with the target disposal and compute the target disposal being the baseline for the manner with which to compute the accomplishment rate.
So it's si judge na bahala what case, basta for your sala you have to finish X amount of cases.
Your Honors, there is what we call aging in
Okay.
the trial of cases.
Right.
So our judges are trained, they undergo training to prioritize most age
Oh,
cases to
all
be
right.
able for trial.
Okay, thank you,
Thank
thank you,
Okay,
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman.
Chair.
Yes, Senator Rafi.
Yeah, merong administrative order from the Supreme Court number 12-11-2 section 5 na yung mga korte pwedeng motopropyo na mag-release ng mga persons detained upon service of the minimum penalty for the offense. Kasi napansin ko na napakaraming mga PDLs na nasa City Jail halimbawa na 2 years na sila, 3 years na sila, hindi pa rin na-dispose of yung kanilang kaso. Siguro dahil overclog na talaga yung cases sa RTC. Hindi ba ginagawa to ng mga judges natin? At wala bang way na mamonitor ng mga korte real time through a database na itong tao ito 1 year na siya nakapag-serve pero hindi pa natatapos yung kanyang case, baka pwede natin i-release to.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you for that, Your Honor. Under that circular, Your Honor, the judges should be observing it's actually a provision of the revised penal code that once a detainee has served the maximum service of the penalty imposable.
Minimum or maximum?
Minimum.
Minimum,
Sorry, minimum po,
okay.
minimum, sorry. They should be ordered released already. But there is another circular released by the Office of the Court Administrator, Your Honor, that the jail warden should not just wait for an order of release from the court because they can on their own release the person deprived of liberty once they assess that the imposable penalty the detainee has already served.
Pero meron tayong database na nagmamonitor niyan real time para pagdating nung halimbawa 1 year na detain na yung tao doon, minimum time na na-detain na yung magiging niya sana conviction, nakapag-serve na siya ng 1 year na doon sa city jail, mag-aalarma doon agad sa judge na nakapag 1 year na itong suspect na ito, so po natin i-release. So meron bang monitoring?
You want data, Your Honor?
Yes.
Yeah,
Real time.
real time.
Yeah.
Maybe we can consider as one of the items for discussion or dialogue for our Justice Sector Coordinating
Oh.
Council, Your Honor. We can take that into consideration, Your Honor.
Very good. And
Yes, thank you
also,
po.
kasi more than a couple of weeks ago, meron isang security guard lumapit sa akin yung kanyang wife na siya'y pinakulong ng mayabang na taga DPWH ng pulis. Wala siyang kasalanan at napakataas kasi ng kanyang piyansa, 120,000 pesos, and that's not affordable for a security guard. Is there a way na we'll set up a system na dapat affordable naman doon sa tao, depende sa kanyang trabaho, yung magiging piyansa sa kanya, or B, recognizance. Ano ba, tulad ng security guard, binabout siya nung homeowners association kung saan siya ay nagbabantay. Ibabout siya ng kanyang barangay chairman. Pwede bang ilibre na lang? Kasi kung hindi ako nagpiyansa doon security guard, hanggang ngayon, mabubulok sa bilangguan yun. Maraming magandang klaseng kaso sa city jail ngayon. Even while we speak, hundreds and hundreds of PDLs nasa city jail ngayon na wala silang kasalanan, sila ay nakulong doon hanggang ngayon dahil wala lang silang pampiyansa.
Yes. Yes, Your Honor. There are several modes of bail that can provide for a provisional liberty for a detainee. Among them, Your Honor, where the detainee does not have to put up an amount of cash, which, as you've said already, Your Honor, in the recognizance, which is duly made by an affidavit of a recognized member of the community.
Pero hindi ginagawa ata ng mga judges natin yan. Wala pa ako narinig na suspect na hindi na pinagpiyansa based on recognizance lamang. Wala pa ako narinig na ganung kaso. Palagi talagang kailangan yung suspect mag-put up ng bail. So kung walang pang-put up ng bail, ang isang pobreng suspect na wala namang katalang kasalanan, nabubulok siya sa bilangguan. Kawawa naman.
We will strengthen, I'm sorry, there are circulars to that effect, Your Honor, on how judges can be guided in the grant of recognizance. Perhaps, Your Honor, that such PDL should merely be advised that the judges can likewise grant provisional liberty on the basis of recognizance, or even a reduced bail that can be decreased.
Ito nakakalungkot eh. Yung binibigyan ng recognizance na parang hindi makapapiyansa, usually mga yayaman. Kasi sikat sila, ibabout sila ng mga politiko, ng mga Poncio Pilato. Sige, huwag ka na magpiyansa because binabout ka ng maraming kilalang tao sa lipunan, so you don't have to put up bail. Pero ito mga pobre, na walang-wala, hindi binibigyan ng opportunity na based on recognizance na hindi na sila dapat magpiyansa. Siguro, bigyan nyo ng guidance sa mga judges.
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, financial capacity is also considered as one of the factors wherein a court or a judge can grant bail. So if the detainee really has no means, financial means, the bail can really be decreased to such an amount that it can be afforded. Even if the bail recommended will amount to 100,000, then from my own experience, Your Honor, we've granted a mere amount of 5,000 pesos to an accused because of the financial means.
Doon din sa bail reduction, napakatagal ang pagpo-process. Again, babalik tayo doon sa security guard na tinulungan ko. Yung kanyang agency, hindi ko alam kung nangunguripot lang o talagang walang pambayad din ng 120,000 piyansa doon sa kanilang SG security guard, nag-file for reduction of bail para doon sa kanilang tauhan. Umaabot ng 3 weeks na, hindi pa rin napoprocess yung bail reduction. Baka pwedeng bilis-bilisan. Meron bang time frame as to hanggang kailan ba dapat ma-process yung request for for bail reduction?
Your Honor, the moment the bail application is filed, we have as our basis the continuous guidelines, the guidelines on continuous trial, wherein the judge should be able to process the bail application in so little time, within 24 hours.
Okay.
They should.
So dapat yan tutukan niyo po.
Yes
Baka
po.
pwedeng bigyan yung advice yung mga judges tungkol
Yes,
dyan.
Your Honor.
Kasi like I said, dun sa kaso na tinulungan ko isang suspect na kulong, umabot ng 3 weeks na, hindi pa rin napoprocess yung bail reduction. Kaya kawawa yung pobre, nabubulok sa bilangguan. Isa na lang item, Mr. Chair. Yung pag-dispose of ng mga kaso, is it because overwhelm yung mga judges dun sa mga cases na hinandle nila? Or tamad lang yung mga judges, pasintabi? Kasi halimbawa, Mr. Chair, mag-appear yung suspect galing sa City Jail January this year. And then ang susunod na trial, September na. And then pagdating ng September, ipopostpone for next year na naman. And then after 2 years, ma-acquit yung suspect dahil wala naman talagang kasalanan. So ang point ko lang dito, baka pwedeng wala ba tayong way na para bilisan, idikit yung schedule ng mga hearings. Wag naman yung after 3 months, after 5 months, kasi kuminsan inabot ng 5 months. Pero pag sa mga mayayaman, ang bilis. Next week, sige, hearing ulit tayo. Pag sa mga hirap, after 5 months, 6 months pa tayo mag-hearing ulit. Kawawa naman yung mga mahirap.
Your Honor, we have procedural rules that should guide our judges, that especially in criminal cases. For instance, arraignment should proceed in a matter of time if it's a person deprived of liberty within 10 days. If it's a non-detainee in 30 days, pre-trial should have proceeded within 10 days, and then trial process following the Speedy Trial Act should have been compressed in a matter of 180 days.
So, good. Meron ba kayong way na para ma-monitor na sinusunod ito ng mga judges?
Yes, Your
Pinag-usapan
Honor.
natin.
We have a way to monitor them, Your
You have?
Honor. Yes, because monthly reports are being submitted by the courts themselves to our court management office to be able for us to track down
Okay.
likewise.
Can you submit to this committee how do you do that kind of monitoring? Paanong
Yes.
klaseng monitoring ginagawa niyo?
Yes, Your Honor. We
Okay.
can.
Thank you,
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Raffy Tulfo. Please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. I think we were in slide 37. For our Metropolitan Trial Courts, Your Honor, we are still into the accomplishment rate. 2024 representing an accomplishment rate of 166%, and June this year, 149%, with pending cases as of June, 39,789.
I think we can forego yung details nito.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes,
Anyway,
Your-
it's submitted.
Yes, Your Honor.
We can now proceed with the judicial reforms.
Yes, Your Honor.
Unless they want to,
I-emphasize mo lang na when
yes, okay.
actually it's all in new cases, parang old cases and then
And
new files.
Sige po. All right. For our judicial reform initiatives, Your Honors, this is highlighted with the creation of our Philippine Judiciary platform, which is a centralized unified online portal developed by the Supreme Court to modernize our court processes and to provide digital transformation, transparency and efficiency. This is central, Your Honor, to the SPJI's goal of modernizing court operations and improving access to justice. This is likewise supported by the amendment of our rules under Rule 13A, because now, Your Honors, the efficient way to file and serve pleadings is through online or through the Philippine Judiciary platform. This is likewise supported by the e-court version 2.0, which is likewise an initiative part of the SPJI to digitalize and automate our court processes, focusing on electronic filing and case management, digital appeals, and court management application. Likewise, Your Honor, for our bar examinations, we have likewise created an online platform which we call the Barista, designed to streamline and manage the registration, application process, and records management for individuals taking the Philippine and the Sharia bar exams. And for our applications for the judiciary, we have the JBC online application and registration system. For MCLE, Your Honor, there's a manner with which to track it likewise online, which we call the Mandatory Continuing Legal Education Information System, which ensures that lawyers stay updated on legal developments, maintain professional ethics, and enhance their practice standards. Likewise, our help desk ticketing solution, which is integrated into the e-court version 2.0 for users experiencing technical issues. They can just, it allows lawyers and litigants to report and track technical issues related to the filing, uploading of documents, and accessing the system. We have likewise the judiciary document request solution, where our stakeholders can now ask for copies of court decisions and resolutions. Likewise, for transparency, what goes on in the Supreme Court, we have the SC Events portal, which is a platform developed to manage and host judiciary-related events, providing a seamless experience for registration, scheduling, and attendance monitoring. For halls of justice and courthouses management system, there is likewise a web-based application to maintain an up-to-date inventory of all halls of justice and courthouses nationwide. Likewise, for our Philippine Judges Association, Metropolitan Trial Judges Association, we have applied the e-voting application for purposes of election setup, voter authentication, vote casting, results tabulation and reporting, and voter management. SC Cares program, Your Honor, is a web-based application system developed to streamline appointing, scheduling, patient management, and access to health services for Supreme Court employees and other relevant stakeholders. For our accomplishments, Your Honor, still under the SPJI objective outcome efficiency, this is done through a streamlined court systems and operations by system-wide process mapping with their organization plan with change management strategy. We likewise enhance quality measures to drive performance excellence, which are seen through our Judiciary Health and Welfare with a unified comprehensive healthcare plan, mental health units and summits, and judicial burnout assessment. We have likewise operationalized child minding centers in the court and strengthened judicial education. We have a campaign for ethical responsibility with the new rules on the new code of professional conduct and responsibility, and likewise the operationalization of the Judiciary Marshal's Office. Under the outcome innovation, Your Honor, this was expanded through a modernization of court processes and operations, where we now develop AI for legal research and other court operations, and the full deployment of the e-court system version 2, which we target to start by January 2026 of next year. We have ICT projects and procurement projects for our ICT infrastructure. And our review of procedural rules are ongoing. Rules of court, protective writs, rules of procedure for environmental cases, rule on family mediation, the rule on electronic notarization. Likewise, our effective use of data in policy and decision-making. We've likewise upgraded information sharing in the justice system by redesigning, coordinating, and having a collaboration model through a revitalized National Justice Information System. Under the target access, Your Honors, this is seen through an enhanced public access to information and legal services by developing and deploying intelligent platforms for self-help services, public assistance, and public access to court-related information and services. We've likewise strengthened legal aid initiatives through legal aid programs. We've established a database for free legal aid providers. Likewise, rules on developmental and social change lawyering. We've retooled the Justice on Wheels program, and we've expanded justice zones under the Justice Sector Coordinating Council. For the Sharia justice, we have...
Sorry, what are justice zones?
Yes, Your Honor. Justice zones, Your Honor, as found, or as we can see from slide 48, these are several programs embodied in the Philippine Development Plan, Your Honor. These they provide a forum for dialogue, Your Honor. What are our common interests, or share effective information sharing to better coordinate policies. We share information and to be able to proactively address issues affecting the delivery of justice, such as, for instance, Your Honor, jail decongestion programs. And we've established them in several parts of the country. Sometimes they become so specialized, Your Honors, that in Puerto Princesa and Palawan alone, we call it the Green Justice Zone, so that they discuss a showcase collaboration for environmental protection and natural resource management.
Just like shareholders in the
Yes, Your Honor.
justice system
Yes.
participating in
Yes, Your Honor.
interventions that
Yes, Your
may
Honor.
improve the justice depending on the issue,
Yes, Your
whether
Honor.
it's environmental
Yes.
law, child trafficking,
Yes, Your Honor.
and the like. Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank
With-
you. Please proceed. Go
Yes,
ahead.
sir. And that is with the collaboration, Your Honor, if I may add, with the prosecution, the OJ, and the ILG. Yes, Your
And the LGUs,
Yes, sir.
I noticed.
For the BJMP, Your Honor.
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. So slide Judiciary Marshal. Again, slide 50, Your Honor. This is the creation of our Office of the Judiciary Marshal under Republic Act 11691. So far, Your Honor, we've appointed our Chief Judiciary Marshal in the person of retired Police General Manuel R. Garland, who has 3 deputy marshals in the persons of General Coronel, General Eric Distor, and retired Colonel Randy O. Remonte. So far, Your Honor, we're asking for the budget to be able to fund 1,043 positions to support our Office of the Judiciary Marshal. For the bar examinations, Your Honor, our recently concluded September 2025 bar exams, where we used 14 local testing centers, and this is fully automated, Your Honor, fully digitalized using Exemplify. 11,437 just completed the exam last September 7, 10, and 14, 2025. Hopefully, Your Honor, that by end of the year, the results will already be given.
Hopefully before Christmas.
Yes, Your Honor. It has been
Either way, it will be good or bad,
or bad.
depending on the results.
Yes, Your
Go-
Honor.
Go ahead, go ahead.
For our Sharia special bar exams, Your Honor, for 2025, the local testing centers have been expanded to 1 in NCR, 3 in Mindanao, and 629 just recently completed the exam with a passing rate of 24.48%. For our Halls of Justice project data, Your Honor, for new construction, 2 have been completed, 5 are in process of implementation, and ongoing procurement works are 9. For general repair and rehab, we have 8 completed projects, 20 in its implementation stage, and ongoing procurement are 6 projects. For refurbishment or renovation of office space, we have 24 completed projects, 4 are still in implementation stage, and ongoing procurement are 6, or a total of 34 completed projects, 29 implementation stage, and 21 ongoing procurement. For our Philippine Judicial Academy, Your Honor, which is the educational arm of the Supreme Court, our core programs have benefited 3,391 participants with a total of 41 programs. Special focus have benefited 3,050 participants, or a total of 40 programs. Convention seminars are 7, benefiting 4,678 participants, and our mediation programs for our ADRs, we have 8 programs conducted with 387 participants.
Maybe we can just go through the totals, no?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Yes.
For last year.
And for this year, Your Honors, of June, we have 53 in total programs, training programs conducted.
Yes.
For the Judicial and Bar Council, Your Honor, out of a total number of 2,893 judicial positions, 612 have been declared vacant with a vacancy rate of 21.15%. But out of the 612 vacancies, Your Honor, 348 are already published vacancies in both organized and unorganized courts. And 151 of them have already been processed with shortlists submitted already to the Office of the President awaiting presidential action.
In this regard, should not the JBC also have targets? For example, if the percentage of vacancies is 21%, should not there be a target that we can reduce it to 10% in the next couple of years?
We'll
I raised this in the briefing earlier that during my watch, I was with the JBC for almost 8 years under Chief Justice Davide, Chief Justice Puno, Chief Justice Panganiban. So I worked with 3 Chief Justices. And when I sat in 2001, the vacancy was 32% among judges and justices. But by the time we increased the pay, compensation, there was an influx of applications. And by 2007, from 32%, it was down to 16%. And I left the JBC in 2008. Unfortunately, after a few years, it went back to 25%. Ideally, and that was what I was targeting as I was part of the JBC, that we would have reduced it to single-digit vacancies from 16%. But at that time, the regular members of the JBC were interviewing each member. They were interviewing 10 applicants a day. So if there were how many regular members of the JBC? 4. So they were actually interviewing 30 to 40 applicants per day. And we achieved the 16%. So that's something that, we'd like to know. Maybe there should be targeting of how to reduce it. And maybe a simple general target is we need to reduce it to single-digit vacancies at some point. I'll raise this with the JBC when we sit down. But we'd like of course, with the support of the justices, we should be able to press the JBC to be able to deliver. Would you like to comment? Please go ahead.
Your Honor, actually, out of the original number of vacancies of 612, what remains for the screening process that are still ongoing with 883 applicants, Your Honor, are just reduced to 197. So if we, if I make in my mind a mathematical computation, 197 compared to the original number of vacancies this year, that's a little over 3%. Yes, Your Honor.
So it will be down to around 17%. Is that it?
Yes.
And of
Less
course,
than-
you
than-
take into consideration the fact that yes, while you're filling up vacancies, you're also experiencing vacancies.
Yes.
Because there are retirements regularly,
Yes, Your Honor.
or promotions. So, and we were careful to be mindful that we weren't running in place.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, for every vacancy that's filled up, a vacancy is created. So that also has to be taken
Yes.
into consideration.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Then the last slide, Your Honor, will be our programs for the MCLE. From January to December 2024, 324 MCLE programs have been made. And from January to June 2025, 78, Your Honor, under the supervision of the Supreme Court through the Philippine Judicial Academy. Thank you, Your Honor. That ends our presentation.
Thank you very much. Maybe initially, the big picture, which I touched on in the briefing, I did a little bit of research that the courts ratio, number of courts to the number of population, it's different in varying jurisdictions.
Sure.
Iba sa US, iba sa Europe, iba sa India. But my understanding is, and this is based on initial research, in the Philippines, I think for every, parang there is 20 courts for every million population. Which is, India has 50 courts for every million population. At least this is the initial data. I'd like to validate this, no? But the United States has 150 courts for every million people. And Europe has about 220 courts for every million, which means 20 is a bit tight, no? It's a bit small. Why do I say this? Because precisely you'd like to make sure it is the lack of how do you call it? If 70 Sandigan Bayan justices, is that enough in terms of speeding up the disposition of cases? Should there be more justices in the Sandigan Bayan so that you can increase it to 75% conviction? I don't know. No? And then I also asked in the briefing, what is the average shelf life of cases in the first level courts? Because I remember during our time in the JBC, it was 6 years, the average case life in the first level court, and precisely a 6-year average case life is not acceptable. In fact, that is one of the findings of the World Bank in terms of the mabagal, no, the ease of doing business in the Philippines. We probably have, or the World Bank has said, we have the longest period of case resolution among ASEAN countries. Again, justice delayed, justice denied. So is this a function of the lack of courts? If we're only receiving less than 1% of the national budget, should we not have a strategic, how do you call it, vision of maybe in the next 3 years, we should at least reach 2%? Oh, that's double, no? Existing. I don't know. No, I think that's the direction we have to take. I remember, of course, it was overtaken by events, but when before he ran, President Aquino, in 2009, when we were putting together his program of government, and I sat down with the DBM secretary then, the late Emmy Bongkodin, I asked her if doubling the judiciary budget within a 6-year period is feasible in terms of fiscal space. And she said yes. And so we put this across to then candidate Noy Noy, who adopted it and said, yes, we can double the judiciary budget within a 6-year term. And today we're hitting about 55 billion. So in a 3-year period, can we increase it by 50%? Or maybe a 6-year period, can we increase it by 100%? And where will it go? And therefore, I go back to, should we target 50 courts per million, which is more than doubling it where we are now. But I need the data so that I can fight for this. And maybe this can be submitted to the committee. How much, if you want to double the judiciary budget, where will it go? What is the ideal ratio of population to courts? How many more divisions do you need in the Sandigan Bayan? How many more courts should be created? And then how do we reduce from 6 years, I don't know what the data is now, to 2 years in terms of shelf life of cases? And this 6 years then did not include appeals. So what is the universe of number of cases from first level to the Supreme Court, and how long has it taken? All of these are information that would help us be able to really sound the alarm bells and say, if you really want this trillion peso scandal of corruption to be addressed, you really need to modernize and strengthen the judiciary. I mean, this is a case for, sabi nga nila, there is a principle in public, reform and change, that when there is a wave, you ride it, and therefore you get further down. Without a wave, kahit na ilang beses ka nagpapadel, you can only go so far. There is a wave today crying out for reform and anti-corruption, and therefore the judiciary should ride that wave. The efforts at providing the judiciary the ammunition and the tools and the support it needs to be able to swiftly convict is something that we ought to work on. So I don't know what the answers are to the questions now, but we will have plenary debates. I hope we can have that as part of the data and the information that we will be needing. What is the shelf life average in the first level courts? What is the ideal ratio between population and courts in the country? And what budgetary appropriations would be necessary to achieve that? And I'll be here for 6 years with God's grace. So we have 5 years, 5.5. So maybe we can champion the cause of modernizing the judiciary and providing it the necessary budgetary support. Definitely less than 1% is, kumuha na lang tayo ng bato, pokpok natin sa ulo natin dahil yun din ang resulta kung hindi natin talaga bibigyan ng. I remember it was Chief Justice Puno who said, you want first world justice, but you provide third world budgets. So that's something. And we have a very hardworking Committee on Finance chairperson who I hope will join us in pushing for this in the next several years. Would you like to comment before we proceed? Yes.
Yes, Your Honor, if we can provide a preliminary data, since this was required by Your Honor during our budget briefing, we have submitted figures, Your Honor, on the shelf life of cases before our courts.
Could you put that,
Yes.
let's place it on record?
Yes, it is on record, Your Honor, because it's supported by statistics as provided by our offices. Cases filed in family courts, Your Honor, it runs a time to disposition 2 years and 4 months. Cases filed in the regional trial courts, or what we now call our second level courts, 2 years, from 4 months to 2 years and 4 months. And for our first level courts, it can even for 1 month, Your Honor, because of our the revision of our expedited procedure to 2 years and 3 months for a regular procedure. For the Court of Appeals, Your Honor, it's even less for case processing time, special civil action, at least from January to August 2025. They were able to dispose a total of 8,172 cases in 1.433 years, or 1 year and 5 months. For civil cases, a total of 6,059 cases, or shelf life of 2 years and 5 months. For criminal cases, a total disposed cases of 6,677, or a total of 1 year and 10 months. For the Sandigan Bayan, Your Honor, if we look at the data provided by the Sandigan Bayan criminal cases, in the exercise of its original jurisdiction with conviction rate, Your Honor, for 2024, there are 426 disposed cases with an average time for disposal of 4 years and 56 months, or 4.56 years. And for January to June 2025, 150 cases, or an average time for disposal of 2.4 years. For the Court of Appeals, it's even less, Your Honor. They may not have provided the percentage, but for en banc cases, Your Honor, where it is a mode of review, it's usually 1 year. And for the divisions, Your Honors, it's an average of 2 years. And for the Supreme Court, we have no data for the Supreme Court, Your Honor, but we will submit it, Your Honor.
It looks like, based on the data that you have submitted, that it has improved
Yes, Your Honor.
greatly from 15 years, 10 years ago.
Yes, Your Honor.
I was in the JBC 2001, so that's 15 years ago, or 14 years. So it's improved immensely. Plus, of course, the budget of the judiciary then was not even half what it's receiving now. So that may also be a factor in the speedy disposition of cases. But yes, thank you for that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I have no other questions, actually.
Mr. Chair, just on that topic, I saw this briefer from CPBRD, same topic on the shelf life or aging. Apparently, for cases less than 3 years, it compromises about 71% of the total cases. For 3 to less than 6 years, 13% of the total cases, and then 6 years or more, 16% of the total cases. These are for the lower courts. But what's noteworthy is the average caseload per judge. RTC is 372, family courts about 565, MTC is about 369. So obviously, there's only 365 days a year. So it's physically impossible for a judge to hear almost every day to dispense all those cases. So with that in mind, I support the vision of our chairman to propose some form of a roadmap on how to be more efficient in terms of disposing cases, or on the other side also making it physically realistic for our judges to manage their cases. Parang this is average. I know that in some areas like in Valenzuela, hindi naman ganito karami. I know that it's not even hundreds, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember it correctly. But I think in some areas, talagang ganito kalaki. No? So the direction is how to make it more realistic for our judges to manage their cases. So I support the call of our chairman to come up with this roadmap so that we can have this long-term view on how to allocate budgets for the judiciary. Related to that, I also saw that the agency proposal, the proposal of the judiciary is about 105 billion, of which only 64 billion was allocated. In a nutshell, because of that drastic reduction from proposed, what programs will be affected? I'm sure that this proposal is meant to be make the judiciary more efficient. But what items will be affected because the proposals were not accepted by DBM?
Our digitalization, Your Honor, including our complement staff consisting of the Office of the Regional Court Managers and the Office of the Judiciary Marshal. Your Honors, the reason why it's really important that as of now, Your Honors, part of SPJI is to devolve the functions of the court administrator so that our judges, which are almost 2,842 of them, need only to concentrate on the adjudication of their functions. All they need to do is hear cases, resolve, issue final orders or judgments. They need not focus on their administrative functions.
Such as?
Such as repairs, supplies, how to procure, how to undergo leave, applications for leave, disciplinary actions for our court personnel, how to dispose of our unserviceable properties, a lot of things, Your Honors. So
Which should be transferred to?
it should be the function of the court administrator, Your Honor, but since there's only one and centralized office, we now decentralize it to 15 regional court managers, which have already been appointed by the court. And one of the excluded budget in the NEP, Your Honor, is complement staff for these regional court managers.
How many regional court managers?
There are 15 of them, Your Honor. So far, Your Honor, the present setup is for 25 personnel, but we're still expanding it as we expand using the agile methodology, more staff, more complement staff to help out in the administrative functions of the courts.
Really to do that, Mr. Chairman, I was talking to you about
Please
it.
proceed.
I also saw that 1/3 of the authorized positions are not filled. About 11,000 out of the
Yes, Your Honor.
27,000.
Your Honors, sometimes even if there's a vacancy, it's best reflected because of some voluntary movement in the judiciary. Someone retires, someone gets dismissed. So there's always a process with which to fill them out. And this undergoes a very well-coordinated within a time schedule by our selection and promotions board. So as soon as we flag that there is a vacancy, we usually undergo that process, Your Honor, so that even if there may appear a vacancy rate of almost 1/3 in our courts, there's a hiring plan for them, Your Honor, which we actually submitted to the Honorable Senator Pangilinan as part of his requirements to be able to fill in.
Some of the vacancies are.
But can the 11,000 authorized positions be used for complementary staff? Medyo marami rin siya, 11,000 though. So, but these are authorized, meaning it's already funded, it's already, the
Yes, Your Honor.
GA already funded these positions.
Yes, Your
So
Honor.
I'm just wondering, can we use the funds to rechannel it to those complementary staff? And I support that, no, because the RTC is like a small, it's an autonomous entity, and they have a lot of administrative responsibilities, and support that. It's just I'm trying to figure out how to efficiently use resources that are not being used, no? So can that be rechanneled to that?
Your Honor, if it's an authorized item, it has to be earmarked for an authorized plantilla item. If it's for casuals and contractual positions, it has to be earmarked for that, Your Honor. So if it's a matter of realigning it from one allotment class to another, I would like to refer to the Fiscal Autonomy Act, Your Honor, because our Chief Justice is now empowered to move or realign an allotment class from another as long as it does not.
Actually, that's what we were saying earlier, that maybe the Chief Justice can
Yes.
move that to a much more, parang in my appreciation of the unfilled position, it's not um, required anymore by your operations. So can we just put that into items that are more in demand
Y-
and more
More-
attuned to
more
your
urgent,
direction,
more
more urgent?
Ang contractor portionographers, kaya yung mga vacant na yun, kahit na vacant siya, contractor portionographers kinukuha
Oo.
natin.
Your Honor, the unfilled positions are a necessary component of our court system because as they are being filled up, it still form a basic part of our courts. For instance, if the for the unfilled positions represented in slide 31, Your Honor, it may reflect a total of 7,912, but we are referring to 690 family courts, Your Honor. And as soon as they are filled out, that's still an important part of the justice system to be able to fill them with
Because in
judges.
value, this 11,000 is about 6 billion, Senator. I just saw the figures here. So that's about 6 billion pesos as well. So if there's a requirement of 23 billion, and the 23 billion, I understand, includes the complementary staff,
Yes.
we can carve out the 6 billion. I'm just trying to figure out the efficient use of resources, because as we hear the budget, there's so many requests from different agencies. So we're trying to find amounts that are not being used, and this goes across different agencies.
Yes, I was,
Senator Pangilinan,
Mr. Chairman, I was
yeah.
going to say that this is not unique to the judiciary. All other departments, all other agencies have their share of unfilled positions. Siguro pagka sinuma mo yun, baka mahigit 100 billion lahat yun, di ba? But anyway, and therefore we're trying to figure out what, how to approach it given the competing demands for budgetary support.
Just explore that. I understand that the 11,000 unfilled positions, as you explain it to us, there's a requirement for that. There's a need for those positions. Hindi lang na siya na-fill on time.
Yes.
No? If I understand it correctly. But just explore that. If that is the direction, then so be it. We're just trying to find ways how we can reallocate resources. In that
Yes, Your Honor. Because as it is, Your Honor, a technical working group has already been constituted by the Honorable Supreme Court and Bank with which to draft the rules and regulations on the Fiscal Autonomy Act. And Your Honor, that is a significant note to consider. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And then on the 23 billion that you requested, I was talking also to Senator Pangilinan. In order of priority, which one is the most alam ko lahat to important, no?
Yes po.
But which one is if you can rank in order of priority, which one will be the most important? And I commend the Judiciary for spearheading your digitalization efforts. In fact, whenever I talk to our judges in Valenzuela, also litigants, I'm very impressed on the digitalization efforts. It's really efficient. Everything is now online. Even kagaya kahapon may bagyo or you cannot go to office, everything can be done online. And I think this is one of the most advanced digitalization efforts that I've seen across the entire government bureaucracy. And because we've been looking at the digitalization efforts of the government. So I commend that. And just to prioritize the 23 billion, which items do you think will be the most important to prioritize?
Your Honor, we've already submitted a paper on our priorities. We can submit the same, Your Honor, to Your Honors.
Just to put on record, what are the top 3 items?
Nasa bag ko.
Sulat niya.
Nasa bag.
Usulat mo
May I be given a minute, Your Honors?
sa house.
Um, of- Your Honors, number one will be a capital outlay on ICT equipment in the amount of 2,450,000,000 pesos to support our video conferencing hearings, and likewise our ICT infrastructure for a fully devolved 2.0 e-court 2.0 version. Likewise, our infrastructure for our halls of justice, Your Honors, because to be properly administer justice, we do need our physical sites, and we are in the process of building them. Likewise, for our MOOEs, Your Honor, our equipment, our supplies, and communication, and what else? Ano siya yun? MOOE?
Yung sinabi. Ito.
Yes, that's all.
Yung sinulat niyo.
Ito.
Sige.
Your Honor, just to summarize, our number one in priority rank, one is personal services lump sum for the creation of new positions without NOSCA. And this is in direct reference to the Office of the Regional Court Managers in the amount of 217,140,702. Number two will be lump sum for creation of new positions without NOSCA, referring to the Office of the Chief Justice and offices of the Associate Justices in the amount of 407,091,887. Likewise, a lump sum for creation for new positions without NOSCA for the Office of our Judiciary Marshals, reflecting 1,043 positions in the total amount of 710,904,464. And then lump sum, likewise, creation of new positions without NOSCA for our Unified Legal Aid Service Officer, ULASO, representing 45 positions, or the amount of 39,098,236. And then priority rank number 5, locally funded projects, construction of halls of justice, particularly in Cebu, Cagayan de Oro, Lapu-Lapu City, and Makati City land acquisition in the amounts of, for Cebu, 4,056,349,030, Cagayan de Oro, 2,004,917,884, Lapu-Lapu City, 550,652,372, and Makati Land Acquisition, 1,900,000 pesos.
Tignan mo
That's
sa
the top 5, Your Honor,
Sa city.
for the Supreme Court and the lower courts. For the Court of For the Presidential Electoral Tribunal, Your Honor, may I just give the top 2 priorities? It's more into the machinery and equipment outlay in the amount of 1 million, and furniture and fixtures as line items in another amount of 1 million. For the Court of Appeals, Your Honors, top 5 priorities: other personal benefits in the amount of 667,354,000. Personal services, top priority number 2, other PS items representing pera, rata, uniform, clothing allowance, and the like, 407,192,000. Number 3 priority, salaries and wages for permanent positions and wages of casuals, contractuals, and emergency personnel in the total amount of 422,434,000. Number 4 priority, RLIP, or retirement and life insurance premium in the amount of 2,228,000 pesos. Number 5 priority, MOOE, or expenses for traveling, communication, supplies and materials, utilities, trainings, and scholarships, 403,037,000. For the Court of Tax Appeals, Your Honors, top 5, almost the same. I'm sorry. For the Sandigan Bayan, the top 5 priorities, Your Honors. Number 1 is personal services or other personal benefits in the total amount of 493,633,000. Number 2 priority, personal services again, other compensation representing PhilHealth contributions, 1,432,000. Number 3 priority, PS, other compensation or representing employees' compensation, or 100,000 pesos. Number 4 priority, PS, other compensation or hazard pay in the amount of 10,305,000. Priority number 5, PS, other compensation or the Provident Fund, or 4,396,000. For the Court of Tax Appeals, the top 5 priorities, Your Honors. Number 1, PS other personal benefits in the total amount of 295,313,000. Number 2 priority, PS other compensation or RATA loyalty award mid-year year-end bonuses in the total amount of 17,747,000. Number 3 priority, likewise PS other compensation for lump sum appropriations in the total amount of 32,742,000. For priority, MOOE, other professional services, we have 12,058,000. And top 5 priority, MOOE, general services, in the total amount of 816,000 pesos. So basically, Your Honor, it's personnel and operational costs.
Was going to say, a lot of these are personnel services.
Yes, Your Honor.
So recurring,
Yes,
a
Your
lot of them are recurring items. Okay. We'll do some pencil pushing in order to see how we can allocate
Yeah.
funds on that.
Yes, Your Honor.
It will still amount to maybe almost 11, 1.8 sa CA, 2, 7, 4 sa SC. Medyo malaki rin, ano? 6 actually sa 407, 217, 710, and 4 billion for justice, for the, yun, malaki yun. Yung Cebu, and so it's, yeah, Cagayan de Oro. So Sandigan, it's about 400, 500 M. CTA is about 209, 300, 330, 340, about 350 M. CA is about 1.8 billion. Yeah, you have it naman, ano, the list that can be submitted.
I also saw that there is special funds, the off-books account amounting to 42.6 billion for 2024. Iba-ibang funds to, no? Special allowance for Judiciary, Judiciary Development Fund. So the 42 billion, hindi ba kaya ma-cover some of the personal services expenses? That 42 billion off books account, off budget account?
No, Your Honor, because in the personal services, they have corresponding items already, Your Honor. The JDF will only represent an increase under the law in the cost of living allowance. Whereas for our other personal services, this is to increase the morale of our people. We provide several allowances such as rice, clothing, mid-year bonuses, year-end bonuses. So there are items, Your Honors, considered. So it's not
These funds are very specific, no? There's
Yes.
a specific use
Yes,
for
Your
that.
Honor.
For example, the special allowance for Judiciary. I think these are used for allowance for justices and judges, and then the Judiciary Development Fund, and then
Judiciary Development Fund, JTF na yan.
Opo, JP.
yung iba MCLE. So they have very specific purpose. But meron ba dito na can be used for personal services or to improve? Okay.
Specific earmarked funds for
Specific
because
uses.
they're under the law, Your Honor. Yes, Your
Okay.
Honor.
All right.
How much of the JDF goes to the special allowances? Because that's for all judges, justices, hindi ba? Would you have?
If we look at the Presidential Decree 1984, Your Honor, 80% should go to cost of living allowance, whereas 20% should only go to court operations and repairs. But now that under the Fiscal Autonomy Act, Your Honor, which is now, the JDF is now the Judiciary Trust Fund with the Honorable Chief Justice having the power to realign or reallocate, we still need to determine that, Your Honor, with the promulgation of our rules and regulations to be able to fully implement it. Thank you, Your Honor.
mentioned also earlier the judiciary marshal. Has
Yes,
that
Your
been
Honor.
fully operationalized?
Yes, to be not yet fully operationalized as of this year, Your Honor, because we only have our Chief Judiciary Marshal and his 3 deputies. We still do not have the complement staff of 1,043 positions because the personnel services for 1,043 positions have been chopped off by the NEP, Your Honor.
Okay. Is that included in the
And in our motion for reconsideration, Your
for
Honor.
the wish list? Included
Yes,
in
Your
the wish
Honor.
list. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
And what's the target manpower complementary for the judiciary marshal?
1,043 positions, Your Honor.
So in the budget request for additional budget, that includes the 1,000.
Yes, Your Honor. The
plus.
710 million, 710.9 million.
So right now there are only
Only 4 of them,
four
Your
people
Honor.
lang.
Yes,
So it's not
With-
really
with their immediate staff, Your
yeah,
Honor.
but that's not really the
Not yet.
the goal, no? The
No,
vision.
Your
The goal
Honor.
is really to
We're far
staff
from
that
our
way.
goal, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right.
Because the plan is likewise to devolve them to our regional court managers to be able to secure the safety of our courts, Your
Okay.
Honors.
So the target is 1,300,
1,043 positions, Your Honor.
1,043.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
We passed that in the 19th Congress, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's it for me. Thank you.
Well, okay, maybe just one, and we don't have to make any decision on this now. I just want to throw it out there, and I brought this to the attention of the court administrator the last time. The matter of the Judiciary Executive, Legislative, Advisory, and Consultative Council, which was convened twice under the presidency of President Arroyo. There was a memorandum of agreement signed by Chief Justice Puno, by President Arroyo, by Speaker De Venecia, and Senate President Villar. And the Judiciary Executive, Legislative, Advisory, and Consultative Council, Senator Gatchalian, was precisely in recognition of the need to augment, increase, provide additional funding for the judiciary, except that we separated the process. Apart from the regular budgetary hearings, budget hearings, and the debates wherein the Supreme Court comes to Congress, we had that JELAC. And because it convened twice, and a secretariat was formed, and in the secretariat, I was a member, Justice Ascuna was a member. We may, it's a matter that we can revisit under the principle that as a co-equal, perhaps we should separate the process of budgetary discussions and of the judiciary relative to all other departments and agencies, so that it is given the recognition and respect as a co-equal, but purely on budgetary matters. And when it did meet twice, it was able to, the president then, Malacanang, was able to allocate an additional 3 billion, if I'm not mistaken, in 2007, on top of the budget that was approved. So maybe it is a matter that the Finance Committee of the Senate can consider, together with the Supreme Court and our counterparts in the House, that we have a separate mechanism for threshing out budgetary support for the judiciary. Because really, for me, the basic question is, why are you only receiving 1%, not even 1% of the national budget? And if you're not, and you should be receiving more, what mechanism should we put in place to be able to achieve that? Sabi nga ni Einstein, di ba? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So if we want a different result, then we have to approach it differently. And maybe this is one way of approaching it differently, so that we can achieve precisely the budgetary support more than just less than 1%. Maybe we can also submit before plenary what is the allocation of budgetary support in the context of their national budgets, for example, for Singapore. How much is their judiciary receiving percentage of the total national budget of Thailand, of South Korea, of Japan? And that could also be a benchmark in terms of us looking to the future in terms of being able to provide the sufficient resources and the sufficient funding for a modernized first world judiciary. So please help us there. No? And this is a continuing conversation, and hopefully we can craft something, no? If the chairman is so willing.
Mr. Chairman, again related to that, favorite natin gumawa ng courts through law. No, it's
Yeah.
one of our.
Yes.
We legislate the creation of schools. We legislate the creation of hospitals and also courts. I don't know if you have the data, but if you have the data, how many courts were created by Congress that are unfunded? Do you have that data?
Yes, Your Honor, we can submit the data.
Yeah,
Your
just submit
Honor.
it to
Yes,
us
Your Honor.
because one of our goals, Mr. Chairman, is also to fund those items that are created by Congress, hospitals, courts, schools. Ano ba? Those are the big three.
National highways.
I think but roads yata meron din. But the top of mind is courts, schools, and hospitals. We're looking at funding them next year so that we fulfill the intention of the law of creating those facilities in different parts of our country. Just submit to us.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, with that, there being no further questions on the budget of the judiciary, the budget of the judiciary is deemed submitted for the consideration of plenary.
Thank you very much, Your Honors.
Thank you, Justice Estoesta, Justice Zalameda, Justice Villanueva, Justice Garland, Justice Lopez, Justice Ekong, Justice Jacinto, Justice Gito, Justice Miranda, my classmate, Justice Mamuag, Justice Manahan, Justice Ferrer Flores, and to everyone, Justice Peralta, at sa ating lahat. Magandang tanghali, maraming salamat po. The hearing, the committee hearing of Subcommittee J is hereby suspended.